Alright, welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now, and it is time to address the queries that have started pouring in on WhatsApp as well as on our social media platforms. If you are sitting in the comfort of your homes and if you're watching this on your television, then the WhatsApp number should be flashing on your screen. In case you have a question for us, just take this number down, save it as ET Now, and send us your query. Make sure that you mention your name as well as the stock that you want to find out about. We will only take one stock per person, and do mention the time frame that you would like to know about. So if it's a short-term query, we will address it with a technical expert. All right, let's get started on a slightly offbeat question, and this one is coming in from Vishwanathan, and he's writing in from Dubai. I want to take this to you first, Vikas, and this is on stocks that have gotten delisted. And if you've missed offering or tendering your shares in the delisting process, and you continue to hold for the likes of Hexaware Technologies, for example, what do you do about those stocks? Is there some way that you can still get rid of them or acquire some value from them?
Actually, this happens with a lot of investors who are not well informed in the market, and the delisting process comes and goes and they forget to tender their shares. So in such cases, I think there is a time limit also. For the next 1 year, the company can buy back from these shareholders who have not participated in the delisting process. Obviously, they would get the same price which was offered at the time of delisting. So that could be one thing. And the second thing would be, there are some agencies, some intermediates who normally deal in unlisted shares of good quality companies, and you could look for some of them and get in touch with them. If they are willing to buy them, you can sell it to them, and they would take chances as far as these stocks are concerned, and they would wait for any future relisting of these stocks. So that is the only thing which could be done with these stocks, I think.
Okay, Vikas, and just continuing with Vikas, on a long-term view, we have Sankar from Kerala, who's asking us that can he enter in Granules India at these current levels? What are your views coming in on the stock for the future growth of the stock?
I like the stock. It's a fundamentally good company, and from the pharma space, and it's into APIs and formulations and bulk drugs, etc. The stock has done well, but it's seen some correction recently from its highs, in line with the correction which we have witnessed in the market, and currently quoting at around 330 odd levels. I think it's a good time to buy into this stock and keep it for long term. In the longer term, I think it could give substantial returns from the current levels.
Okay, we've got Azma Khan, who's confused about the counter that she's bought. She's got Metropolis, which she bought at levels of 2,910, and she's got a long-term view, Kunal. I think that she's intending to hold for the long term. She's just asking if she should average at this point.
Yeah, I think can average at this point. The stock looks attractive. 2,600 seems to be a good support for the stock over the near term. So I think keeping that as a good base, you can look to average, and if it happens to come back to 2,600, that should be another point where you can look to average further.
Okay, and Vikas, I just want to know Pratiksha is asking us that is it the right time to add Bosch Limited and IFB India from a long-term perspective, and what would be the price after 1 year that we are expecting from both these companies?
Yeah, Vinny, both are pretty solid companies as far as their fundamentals are concerned, and I'm sure these companies would continue to deliver returns over the longer period of time. So since the investor has a horizon of 1 year, I think he or she can look at buying into these quality companies like Bosch and IFB Industries, and can expect a reasonable return of 20 to 25% over the next 1 year or so in both the stocks.
Okay, Vikas, I'm coming back to you on this one. Soumitra is asking a question about Polycab, and he's been holding a decent chunk, he says, from levels of 700, and he's gained a significant amount of value. I think his holding period is less than 2 years or thereabouts. He's wanting to understand at what levels can he add further, and he's looking for a fundamental view for the long term.
LX, a great company, and it has delivered superlative returns over the last 1 year, and the investor has bought it at a very good price. And I would recommend the investor to still continue to hold on to the stock despite the immense profits which he's making on the stock. It's a quality company, and with the kind of focus which the government has on digitization and connecting every part of the country through optic fiber cables and these kind of things, I think this company is going to go places even from the current levels. So I would recommend a hold on the stock. And as far as averaging is concerned, I think if the market's correct and these kind of stocks also correct substantially, which we saw sometime last week when Midcaps had corrected, I think those kind of opportunities could be good to re-enter or to add to these kind of stocks.
Okay, and Kunal, this one is for you. Sunny is holding 20 shares of Root Mobile at 2,173 rupees. Now he's asking that at what price can he add? Should he be adding more, or do you suggest him that he should be booking losses here?
No, I think you should definitely hold on. You should look to add. I think current levels as well seems to be a good level around this 1888 or 1890 levels. For Root Mobile, where the stock is coming back towards its retracement supports. It's also nearing, the 50-day moving average as well on the upside yet again. So after a bit of consolidation / correction, so it looks to be very, very attractive. I would suggest that you should definitely hold on to this over the medium term to long term at least. And I think at the current levels of sub 1900 should be a good level for you to average it out further.
All right, we've got Anuradha was asking a question about Khadim. I'm going to come to you on this one, Vikas. Do you have a view on Khadim? If so, she's bought at IPO level and she's losing a significant amount of value. Should she hold on to this investment?
Alex, I would request you to toss this question to Kunal, because for personal reasons, I do not invest or recommend leather stocks.
Got the same viewer who is investing in Varroc Engineering, and it's a similar issue. She's losing a significant amount of value. What should she do?
Yeah, as far as Varroc Engineering is concerned, it's a good quality auto component company. The stock has seen a substantial correction from its highs and has been a laggard as far as the peers are concerned. But I think this is a good company which can be held on to from a medium to long term point of view. So my recommendation would be to hold on to the stock.
What is... Okay, and Vikas, we wanted to know, Hari from Chennai wants to know, is it a good time to buy Bajaj Finserv, and could you share your fundamental views on the long-term perspective for Bajaj Finserv? Is it the right time right now to enter?
Vinny, it's very difficult to say whether this is the right time to buy into this stock, but this is a stock which can be a part of one's long-term portfolio. A great company which has delivered superlative returns over the past few years, and both the Bajaj financial twins are in limelight since last couple of days also. I'm bullish on both the stocks, Bajaj Finserv as well as Bajaj Finance, and would recommend investors to continue to hold on to the stock. And as far as fresh buying into the stock is concerned, I think on any correction, any substantial downside of say 5 to 10% would present a very good opportunity for long-term investors to acquire this stock.
It's becoming, Vikas, a couple of stocks that cannot be ignored, in fact. Sudeep has got a question on PNB Housing. He's got 200 shares at levels of 565. He's asking if it can be held on for the next 1 year or so, 1 to 2 years, he's saying. And should he add more at this current price? Kunal, I'll come to you on this one. Would it be better to sell, is what he's asking?
I think it's better to hold on to the stock. I think there was a very strong set of rally coming across for PNB Housing. And there was a lot of news flow surrounding the stock in the month of May and June, where the stock from 375, 400 levels in a matter of, I think, a week or 10 days had jumped up to almost 850 to 900 zone, and post that it's trying to consolidate and go through that mean reversion process. I think if you've bought at lower levels, you already have the cushion in terms of your buy price. And if assuming you're looking to add a bit more, then I believe current levels of 650 could be a good level where you can look to average out further. The stock seems to be very close towards and nearing a consolidation end, and if that happens, you could see a very strong uptick coming out for PNB housing yet again. So hold on to it from a longer term view and possibly look to average as well.
Okay, and because Himanshu is asking in terms of Karnataka Bank, is it a good buy from a 3-year point of view? And he already holds certain large cap stocks. So what is your view coming on for Karnataka Bank?
Yeah, Vinny, I think it's a good quality bank and could perform in the long term, but I think there are better opportunities in the market, even in the private sector banking space. So I would like the investor to go with banks like an ICICI Bank or a Kotak or an Axis Bank, which would give them much better return compared to a Karnataka Bank of the, say, a longer period of time.
Okay, fair enough. Kunal, we've got Padma Balan who's asking a question about Agarwal Industry. She's also mentioning CCL products. So if you have a view on either or both of these, she's asking if she should hold on. She's gotten into Agarwal Industry at levels of 350. Share price is currently 300, and CCL products at levels of 360. What should she do?
Yeah, I believe, Alex, that I've maintained this theme since the entire month of August that the mid caps and small caps are going through a bit of grind. Now, stocks which have done exceptionally well, so in this case, both Agarwal Industries as well as CCL products over the last 14-15 months, this is the first month where you're seeing some correction creeping by into these names. Typically, whenever you see a retracement of sorts for mid caps and small caps, it lasts for at least 1 to 3 months, if not more. And again, depending on the news flow and the circumstance around it. So I would expect that these stocks can drag a bit more. If you're looking to average these stocks, I would sense wait for maybe another month and a half odd. If these stocks correct by say another 10 to 15%, then there could be some value better supports and demand which could emerge for these stocks. At current levels, the long-term patterns look attractive, but the risk reward may not be attractive to enter fresh or even look to average. So I would suggest to wait for some more time.
Okay, Kanal, and Vikas, in terms of Divyani International, Manohar is holding 75 shares at 131 rupees. So what is the long-term view? Can he hold from a long-term perspective, the Divyani International?
Yeah, Vinny, I like the stock. It was a issue which recently got listed and got a tremendous response when the issue was open for subscription. But the stock has come down of late, but I think it's a good quality company with pretty good franchises like Pizza Hut and several other restaurant chains. And I think these kind of businesses attract prominent investors or FIIs and PE funds also. So I would recommend a hold on the stock. And I think since she's bought it at a higher level, she could average at the current levels and stay put.
All right. The next one is also for you, Vikas, and this is a fundamental view on Radico Khaitan as well as UBL. It's amazing how every Friday we get questions about these two. But let's talk about the fundamentals. The question is from Sagar. He's holding on to both of these and he's bought at attractive levels. But he's asking about the challenge that is posed by certain foreign brands coming into India. Is that something to worry about, or can it be held for the medium term?
Yeah, Alex, I would recommend a hold on both these stocks. And you rightly pointed out, every Friday these stocks come into focus because the weekend coming in. And now that we are heading for the opening theme, these kind of companies could start performing again. So I'm bullish on both the stocks, and they can be held on from a long-term point of view.
Kanal, the next one is for you. Krishna Arjun Rao from Vijayawada is saying that he's holding Brussels Renewables at 107 rupees. Can he add some more at the current market price?
I believe yes, can be added at current levels. It's nearing a support zone at current prices. Has corrected, I think, around more than 10% from its previous swing high. So I think purely on that sense, and looking at the structure of the charts, the flow of the prices, the way the prices move into an uptrending fashion, I would suggest that you can look to average at current levels.
Okay, we've got a question on Federal Bank. We've got Manas Gore who's asking about a 1 year view. In fact, I'm going to club this with another bank. We've got Ajay who's asking about IDFC First Bank with a 3-month view. Ajay has gotten at levels of 48.7. So Kunal, we've got Manas who's gotten a Federal Bank at levels of 300 and Ajay who's bought IDFC First at 48.7. What is the short term view? So 3 months to 1 year or so.
Both these stocks are looking weak to me on charts, frankly, Alex, because even though the chart patterns for these stocks or the prices could remain a bit attractive compared to their 3-month, 6-month highs, but the sluggishness of the chart for both of these is not auguring very well for the near-term trends. So, for example, IDFC First Bank was a stock which looked extremely strong around that 64-65 territory, and very slowly and gradually the stock has broken below its 200 moving average and is now almost 10 to 15% below its 200 DMA. So that itself tells you the weakness of the inherent trend. Federal Bank, on the other hand, I think is just about on the verge of breaking below its 200 moving average. So at a time when the Bank Nifty is perched at a breakout point, you still have a lot of sluggish names into the banking names, and I think these are the stocks which one should avoid, because if the breakout happens, I think it could be led by a lot of leaders in that sense, and probably laggards can follow. So I would suggest that wait out for wait out for these names, and if you're looking to add probably banking stocks, I would in fact suggest that why not shift or switch towards HDFC Bank or even ICICI Bank at current levels.
Right, and Vikas, Homi is asking that he's bought 300 shares of Aarti Drugs at 702 rupees, and he's asking what is the future of this company, where do we see it going, because right now he's saying this, we are seeing the stock price is consistently falling, so what should he be doing and what's the future of Aarti Drugs?
Yeah, Vinny, as far as Aarti Drugs is concerned, the stock has corrected from her buying price. She must be say substantial losses. But I would still maintain a hold on the stock. It's a good quality pharma company, and I think once the markets starts going up, and as far as probably the pharma sector starts performing, I think this stock also would do well. So I would recommend a hold on the stock at the current levels.
Okay, the next one is Chaitanya, who's asking a question. Chaitanya, what has happened is that Cheryl normally takes questions from YouTube, and therefore it might seem like I haven't taken your question in a while, but I'm sure that she's taken your question. We've got Chaitanya asking about Cube Investments, and this is a counter that's currently trading at around 1,250 or thereabouts. Vikas, he's bought at levels of 1,315. If you have coverage on this, what is the fundamental view? Should he hold for the long term?
Fundamentally a good company, and his buying price is about 5% higher than the current levels. I don't think he needs to worry. These kind of companies over a medium to longer period of time certainly reward its shareholders. So I would maintain a hold on this stock as well.
Okay, we have Purna Chandra who is bought NMDC at 180 rupees. She has 550 shares. Kunal, this one is for you. So she's asking, should she be holding this for a long-term duration or a short-term duration? What is the stock trend that we could be expecting for NMDC?
See, NMDC has become now a very volatile stock, a very high beta name. So from 210 levels almost 3-4 months back, the stock has corrected very sharply towards 150. So that's a very steep correction for a stock like NMDC. But then it's apparently it's not dented the stock patterns or the price patterns as such on the long-term time scale, even after this 20-25% retracement from its 3-month high. So I think purely on that sense, I would suggest that if you can hold on to it for another 6 months to 1 year, then the prospects for the stock could improve significantly going forward.
Okay, this next one is from Mayank Saraf, one of our regular viewers. He's got a question on Oracle Financial Services Software, and this one's for you, Vikas. He's holding on at levels of 4,600, so he's in the green right now, but he points out that he's also holding it from the perspective of it being a good dividend play. He's asking if it can be added at this current level for the next 2 years.
Yeah, Alex, I like this stock as well. Fundamentally, a very good company from the IT space and has been a laggard in the sector if you compare it with its peers. But from a valuation point of view, it's certainly trading at pretty reasonable, pretty cheap valuation when you compare it with its peers. The stock has been included in the F&O segment also from today. So I think this stock would do well over the next 2 years. So I would recommend a hold. And if one wants to average it, I think a correction of 5% should be looked at.
Okay, Kunal, Praveen from Chennai wants to know the short-term outlook for Bharti Airtel. He's bought in 300 shares at 550 rupees per share. What should he be doing with them?
I think it's a classical buy price. If you bought at 550, which means you bought just at the time when the stock had was on the verge of a breakout. I think it's a stock which has found its mojo back. It was underperforming since last, I think, 9 months or 10 months odd, and now it's getting into that strong uptrending mode. Even after I think yesterday's and day before correction, I maintained my stance on Bharti Airtel that it seems to be a good buy on dips, and 575, 585. Seem to be too strong support territory. The stock has bounced off from those levels, and we are now seeing the stock back again above that 600 mark. So it seems to be a very good stock. Found its mojo back, and I think purely on that sense, I would expect targets of almost 660 to 700 on Bharti Airtel over the next 1 to 2 months.
All right. I believe Salil Dhawan, we have answered your question on Bajaj Finance. Vikas is positive on the counter for the long term. Sukirt is asking about DCB Bank, and I know that you've given your view, Vikas, on the private sector banks, and you prefer ICICI Bank as well as Axis, if I'm not mistaken. But we've got Sukirt, who's got 500 shares of DCB Bank bought at levels of 92. Should he hold on?
As far as DCB Bank is concerned, the bank has been doing well. But as I told you earlier, if one were to stay invested in the private sector banking space and one has a long-term horizon, I think banks like an ICICI Bank or Axis or Kotak, they would give much better returns. So I would recommend that the investor exits from this bank and switches to one of these frontline private sector banks.
All right. Let's hit the rapid fire segment. Vikas, you are already familiar with this. We have 2 minutes in which we will try and attempt to answer as many questions as we possibly can. I'm going to start it off then. Let's start the counter. I'm going to start with you. Achal is asking about Kaveri Seeds. Would you buy it at this juncture or not?
Hold would be my call. The news has already come in and they've announced a good buyback. So hold would be my call on this.
Kunal, so Sundar is asking, should he hold, sell or buy M&M at current levels?
I think you should hold and look to average as well.
All right, we've already taken a view on Bharti Airtel on the technicals, but on the fundamentals, Vikas, would you say, Sayak wants to know, he's bought at levels of 618, so slightly elevated. Should he hold on?
Certainly hold. Bharti Airtel remains the best pick from among the telecom sector stocks.
Mrs. Mala from Coimbatore is talking about Jyoti Labs. Should she be holding the shares or should she be looking to sell them at the current levels?
Well, I think, so Vinny, I think the viewer should hold on to the stock and in fact look to average. Depending on her initial cost price, I think it's bouncing off from its critical moving averages. So should be a good point to average.
Okay, I'm going to club a few questions. If I don't mention your names, please, forgive me. We've got a question, Vikas, on Aurobindo Pharma, Sun Pharma, as well as Lupin. Which of these would you say is a good buy at the current price?
All three looks good. All three look good. And as far as Aurobindo Pharma is concerned, I think the stock has beaten down. And from here on, I think we could see a sharp rally from this stock. They've already withdrawn from their takeover which they were doing, which was not liked by the market and because of which it had corrected. So from among the three stocks, Aurobindo would be my most preferred bet.
Yeah. 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 Okay, just because it's Friday, I'm going to take one bonus question. Vikas, this one's for you. We got a viewer on YouTube who's asking about Powermech. Would you say that it's a good buy?
Again, the stock has run up, and I would maintain a hold on this company and not buy at the current levels. One should look for opportunities to buy at corrections.
Okay, thank you so much, Kunal and Vikas, for joining with us on the show. But we'll slip into a short break and we'll be right back with more news flows coming for you all.
Co-powered by Century Laminates Lucida.